Yep, let's go ahead and begin that. Of course, down here at the left side of the map, our Zerg player from the team Liquid. It is Liquid Sheth. And on the other side of the map, we have our Terran player on the team Mouse Sports. It is Thorzian. He's known as the Spoon Terran because of his super patient style.
Now, on a map like this, I mean, it is a longer map, but once you get into the mid to late game, it becomes a very, very small map in the sense that Thorzian's going to probably set up, I would think, right outside of his natural and kind of covering both his third base and his second base. But, I mean, I don't know how Sheth is going to be able to break this because you can really only do drops. If your opponent has set up, the map is basically very easy to split.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially with how much vision you get from the watchtowers. If you can kind of hold one or both of the watchtowers, it's really difficult for the Zerg to kind of circumvent that. And because of the way the map is laid out, it's difficult to attack an isolated base because the bases are fairly close together. Once you take the third as a Terran, the Zerg player can try to run by over there, try to hit that base, but like I said, if you have the towers, it's going to be really easy to spot that. A player like Thorzian will definitely drop some sensor towers to spot for things like that as well. So you may have to go for drop play, and sometimes in situations like this, you kind of have to go big or go home. If you go for a drop, you can't really do a small drop on this map. You have to kind of commit to it, and that may be something that Sheth does here. It's not common to see drop play in this matchup. I don't know what type of style I'm going to see from Sheth here. He is going for a hatchery first here, but what kind of mid-game style are we going to see from Sheth? He may use that mid-game style, for example, if he goes for infestors on this map, he may use that to get an advantage. And if you get an advantage against Thorzian, his style is much easier to deal with.
Yeah, the infestor style is something that Sheth is obviously very, very good at. Of course, the other style being that muta-baneling mid-game that a lot of Zergs, much like Idra, just tip over and over and over in all their matchups. So there's the pull going down as well as the gas. Pretty standard stuff for Sheth. Thorzian actually throwing down that refinery, so he will not be going for a 1-Rax expand here. But it looks like he is going to be going for a 1-Rax kind of, I guess, he's basically getting the Hellions here pretty soon as he already has 400 minerals built up.
Yeah, he's actually pulled one SCV out of the gas. He's only mining with 2. He's going to go for a faster command center before factory. It's a smaller variation of this build. And of course, Sheth is going to scout this right away with that drone.
And he's going to start annoying that SCV a little bit, but it will not kill it, of course. We are waiting for that 25 remaining gas before he throws down that factory. Meanwhile, Sheth does have 2 drones out, checking around for any bunkers or anything like that. There is 1 lone Marine coming out. And that's a pretty smart play, you know, to just check what's going on. You can, of course, see some overlords sometimes in the middle of the map and take those out, which really would put you in a great spot.
Yeah, that's a great thing to note. You know, you can force drones to be pulled. You may even be able to kill a drone if your opponent's not paying attention. The drone of Sheth looks like he may steal a gas here. He's actually just continuing to harass the SCVs. He's forced a few repairs. He may be taken out. Yep. Takes that drone. As you can see, the factory going down for fall. The reactor is on the way as well. He's going to want to push those Hellions out as soon as possible to limit Sheth's creep spread and also to take control of the watchtowers.
And right now for Sheth, we actually see a ton of Lings here on the map. We see Ling speed started as well. And it looks like he wants to move in and just possibly deny this expansion from Thorzian as long as he possibly can. But with those Hellions coming out, I mean, he's not going to be able to do it for too long.
You're exactly right. He just wants to see what he can see with these earlings. Do a little bit of additional scouting. If he's lucky, he might be able to catch a Hellion that comes out, but I think Thorzian will definitely be on top of that. And as you said, with the Hellions coming out, these earlings will have to leave, but I like that he's putting on this pressure like this. It's not common to see someone make this many earlings, but Sheth can catch someone who's being a little bit greedy off guard with this.
We already see Stim started over here on this Rax in the main base of Thorzian, and second Rax as well. Has not lifted that orbital command, drops the mule, and there he goes actually lifting it. The Lings falling back like clockwork because he knows those Hellions are on their way out. Meanwhile, in Sheth base, we see him already up to almost 200 gas, only off of 1 gas right now. What is he going to be using this for? I would suspect a Roachborn going down here pretty soon, at least 1 or 2 Roaches to fend off those Hellions.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, a fast lair is pretty much out of the question on this map. I mean, it can be done, but it's just so unlikely. The Roaches will be coming out as soon as the Roachborn is going down, but this Hellion is going to perhaps catch some Lings. Zergling's going to be finishing at the last second.
There's Ling speed, but the other Hellion joins up, and those Lings will not be able to get us around. And, you know, that was actually a pretty big thing because those Hellions are not anywhere near the natural of Sheth. They're not dealing damage to any of those drones, and Thorzian's going to have to wait just a little bit. He only actually made a total of 2 Hellions there.
Yeah, you're right. And one thing to note here is that, again, Sheth has gone up to about 300 gas here. He may make a ton of roaches when this Overlord pops. He's got some larvae banked up as well. I think he's going to make about 9 roaches and push out to be aggressive. Right now, Thorzian does not have a bunker in place, and that's something he's going to need. He's going to at least need to see the roaches before he deals with that. If he doesn't scout the roaches at all, he's definitely going to take some hits here.
And a very quick third coming out here for Sheth. The Hellions are now coming cross map, so we will see them in due time if he continues that way. Ling scouts that Xel'Naga tower, and Hellions are going to be able to make quick work of that. But here come the 2 roaches. You know, every now and then, sometimes a Zerg player will just send a bunch of roaches cross map, but it looks like Sheth does not want to do that. He's now droning up to 12 more drones.
Yeah, that's not what I expected to see. We see a small Zergling run by at the natural, but it will be cleaned up. He only gets, looks like, 1 SCV. As you're mentioning, a third base is going down. He's getting double evolution chambers here and a Baneling nest. The third base is kind of cool with this Roach play because he can use that gas that he has. Wow, these Zerglings are continuing to put some pressure on here. And wow, Thorzian is going to have to start dealing with these because he keeps coming back for a second.
Yeah, and you know, he's dealt a lot of damage with this few amount of Lings, but now at the same time, looks like Thorzian's going for this medevac push, going straight for that natural. There are a handful of roaches here, but he's going to need a little more forces than that. But he's really just trying to hurt the economy here and making sure that the creep spread doesn't get too crazy for Sheth.
Yeah, he should be able to take out this third base, but the roach count is a little bit higher than he would have anticipated. I don't think he expected to see any roaches here. Here come the Zerglings now. Can he take out this hatchery? There may be too many, but with the medevacs there, Sheth is trying to decide what to do. He doesn't know if he wants to engage here.
And he did have stem actually there, but now he's just waiting as there's nothing coming cross map, and it looks like he's going to fall back. So Sheth will defend, but that hatchery is at half HP. So that might come into play later in this game, as Thorzian could easily do like a small 8 Marine drop and take it out very quickly.
You're exactly right. That may be something he considers. He's really good at that multi-prong harass, despite the fact that he's known for being such a patient player. One thing to note is that Thorzian back at home is starting his second engineering bay. His command center that he's going to move to his third base is done as well here. So he's putting on a little bit of pressure here. He knows he wants to secure that third command center, so he doesn't want to take too much of a risk with this push. He wants to make sure he keeps that army alive. He's actually going to push through here, though, stimming his units, and he may go for the hatchery. He's trying to decide, oh my god, a huge Baneling hit.
Yeah, that Baneling dealt so much damage to those Marines, as Thorzian's going to have to pick up in the medevac and get out of town there. He did kill, I think, 1 Queen there, a couple of Overlords, so it was somewhat effective, but he was really trying to get that hatchery, and he took about 200 HP off of it, as now Thorzian's going to be securing his third, and Sheth is going to have to be doing something pretty soon, because at 3 base is not a good way to be in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely not. But he got so lucky with that Baneling hit that really hurt the power of Thorzian's push. He wasn't able to get the hatchery. And here goes Sheth now. He knows something's up. He's going for that command center up at the top. It's not a planetary yet. There are a few units to defend. He's hesitating a little bit here, though.
And he is going to go in. 1-1 actually just finished for those Lings. That is just too much forces there for Thorzian. Sheth is going to have to fall back in that planetary. Will finish, but he's also pushing up here on the right-hand side of the map. As a tank was trying to get out there, are a handful of roaches. He's maybe going to be able to cut them off, and he will indeed be able to get a big surround on those units. There's a lot of the units over at the third base still.
Yeah, he is completely out of position. He's losing a lot here. SCVs are going down. Lost the tank, and the units cannot get into the main, but many of the Zerglings will escape. I really like the amount of pressure Sheth has been able to put on here. He's attacking from several different angles. The planetary is done now, so it's going to be very difficult for him to attack here, but it looks like he's going to try to put these roaches behind the mineral line so that they can pick off some SCVs.
There is a drop right now going into the main base of Sheth. There's about 6 Lings and some drones, but he's going to have to deal with this pretty soon. Meanwhile, the roaches were dealing some damage over at the third base. The drop now has started here in the main of Sheth. And he's going to be able to clean up those Lings, possibly get the Queen. Maybe not, as now the Lings are coming in there. He's got to pick up, but he lost so many of the Marines, only 2 remaining. That drop actually did not deal a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And something to note right now is that there are 85 drones to 56 SCVs. So Sheth, despite, having to deal with all this pressure from Thorzian, has actually been able to drone up quite heavily here. So he's got just enough drones to basically saturate all the bases he'll have. He's taking a 4th at the bottom right as well. So now he can really focus on that unit production. You can see he's getting 2-2 upgrades right now. He's getting Baneling speed, and he's making a ton more Zerglings. So he looks like he wants to play for the longer game, which is kind of a bold choice against Thorzian. But he is built up his economy now. now he's building up the army.
Yeah, we even see him looking for a fourth base over at Thorzian's side of things. There is a fourth command center, but it's only about halfway complete. And while Sheth was thinking about moving out possibly there, as he's going up to Hive Tech, we see a whole slew of upgrades here. Bathing Spleet +2/+2 for that carapace, and the attack for the melee. Just getting so many upgrades, and I think we actually might be seeing that drop play as he's getting the upgrade.
Yeah, he's definitely going to do some drop play, I think, with that upgrade there, the Overlord speed as well. Now, with the Hive Tech on the way, though, he's probably going to upgrade those Zerlings, and I really think, rather than Roach dropping, we are going to see Zerling dropping here. It's much more cost-efficient in most cases, and it's just really Sheth's style. This drop down here at the bottom right may take out this hatchery. It does. He targets it down, and will save every last Marine.
Yeah, and that is a pretty big blow to the economy of Sheth. Even though he wasn't mining from there, he was about to be. And once again, he's back on 3-base versus 3-base. And Thorzian is actually trying to take his fourth right now. And Sheth is going to possibly double expand here as he's taking one up on the left middle side. Also going back for that bottom right. As a drop over here from Thorzian, looks like he was just trying to heal those Marines. And whoa, Sheth is expanding all over the map right now, Wolf.
Yeah, I really like this because he has this large Zerling force going across the map. It's heavily upgraded, and he can kind of punish Thorzian for moving out with a large army to attack these bases. And, you know, Thorzian is staying very true to his style as well. He's kind of going one by one with these bases. He just secures one, gets it up, he defends it, then he makes another one, then he just kind of pushes that out. He's sending a few Marines across the map. I think this is purely to catch some units. He actually gets an Infestor. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a pretty good little pack of Marines. And oh, I love seeing this style. The double spire is going down. He's going to get so quick upgrades on his air units, as right now he just has such a control on the map with these Lings. This style from Sheth is really fun to watch.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, this is what Zerg is meant to be. It's just expanding everywhere, being everywhere. It has this large presence in the middle of the map. And all these hatcheries, if he kills one, there's just another one to take its place with how many hatcheries he's built here. The Zergling count is out of control. He has 140 Zerglings on the map right now and a total of 7 Infestors to join them. So if Thorzian makes any mistakes, he is going to get punished so fast.
More drops now just all over the map. I mean, Thorzian's trying to find some way to deal with this, but this is that style that Thorzian uses. It's very slow and methodical, and when Sheth is kind of all over the place, you can't really move out. It's very hard to be able to deal with this style. Look how many Lings he has in the middle of the map, and they're 2-2, soon to be 3-3.
Yeah, I mean, any army that gets caught by those Lings is going to regret it. Thorzian does have a planetary going up at the top left. It looks like Sheth is considering going for it here, but if it finishes, he's not going to be able to take that down, especially with the amount of Marines that Thorzian has to support here. If you look at the resources, though, you can see Sheth is starting to bank a lot of money, and that's something Thorzian does not really have at this moment. He's trying to get himself maxed out, whereas Sheth is already there. The Greater Spire is on the way, as you mentioned earlier, since he has double Spire. He can get those upgrades out very quickly. He's even starting to get some Spines for drop play, and I think we're going to see a transition into Broodlord play, and this game may go on a lot longer.
Yeah, in just a second, I think that Sheth might just try to use these Lings for a big attack, but here comes Thorzian taking out this left middle base. That hatchery will fall with ease. The Lings are actually being split up here. Sheth is sending him over to the third base. He's going to find him some tanks, and now the planetary needs to... I don't know if he's going to be able to take that planetary out, but yeah, he's going to try.
I don't like this. There's a lot of SCVs to repair. Even if he takes out the planetary, he's going to lose a lot, but he bungles the SCVs. Unfortunately, though, the Marines are still here.
Oh, and a huge fumble on all of those Marines. It was definitely easy to land, but it just paid off so well. They're taking out so many, and the planetary does fall. And that is what I was talking about, is a lot of the Lings, you know, he lost so many there. I think he had 140 on the map, but it paid off. I mean, he took out the third base, so now he's on that 3 bases compared to right now Sheth, who just has so much, but oh, the hatchery is going to fall over here at the right middle of the map, and we're going to be just forward soon.
There's so much action going on here. There's so much trading. I mean, after all those Zerlings died, he literally made 140 Zerlings on the production tab. Already back out here. Look at that streaming across the minimap. So I feel like Sheth has gotten the better trade here. He killed the planetary, he traded okay, and he just made cheap units immediately replace them. And look at the supply, 199 to 169, and he may try to do it again here at this planetary.
And he will not have the Infestors that he had in that. Well, they're in the middle of the map right now, but we see a drop actually about to occur here in the main base of Sheth. 2 medevacs full, a ton of corruptors out on that map, and the Greater Spire is getting upgrades. If Thorzian can go and take that Greater Spire out, it's going to be very annoying. But Sheth is now moving up into the natural of Thorzian here on the right-hand side of the map. So much action, Wolf.
Yeah, the depots were not raised. These SCVs are going to be taken out. At least a lot of them are. Forces a stem and retreat, and Thorzian, meanwhile, has taken out some units in the main base. Will he go for the spires? He's not actually controlling it right now, so he's probably not going to get them a ton of units for Sheth being sent home right now to deal with this, and he's not microing the drop, so it's not actually targeting anything. Looks like he goes for the Roach Warren.
Does get it. Those upgrade rings are just dealing so much damage to the 2-3 Marines, and that drop will get cleaned up. You got the Hive to half HP. Greater Spire and the Spire both getting upgrades. 9 Broodlords now being morphed in over at the third base. Sheth is looking like he's getting ready for a big push, but Thorzian does have a lot of Vikings and Ghosts coming out on the way.
He's already got 12 Vikings out, JP. He has been long preparing for this, and so I'm not sure how effective this transition is going to be. He's going to kill this base at the left side, perhaps. Will Sheth barely save it? It looks like it. Barely saving that base, going down to about 200 points.
Yeah, it finishes. I mean, I don't know if Sheth, I guess it doesn't really make that much difference, but some of the infestors here in the middle of the map were get caught off guard by these Marines, and now the Broodlords are moving out. The infestors are right below, as well as one lone Corruptor. Another small force here on the right-hand side of the map, moving in to this base of Sheth, going straight into the drone line, taking the Queen out with ease. He does have 2 spine crawlers to chew through, but it looks like now he's just focusing on the drones.
Yeah, he's going to get a decent amount of those drones. Nice positioning here, but he needs to get out because the infestors are here. A bungle goes down. It will kill all of these units, but the supply is still fairly even. The Lords are out on the map alone.
That is so scary for Sheth, as now he's going to see all of these Vikings, and there is nothing to support him. The infestors are lollygagging behind them, and if he can get in there, there's the big, all these Broodlords just getting decimated here by all the Vikings, now finally meeting up with those infestors, but he lost so much of those Broodlords there.
So much, and nice control by Thorzian, even picking up some of his units. He's going to try to EMP these infestors, hit several of them, even some snipes going down, and Thorzian, look at the supply, 163 to 125. He definitely got the better end of the trade here, and I feel like Sheth, I mean, he kind of did not read what Thorzian was doing. He made that many without knowing that his opponent had Vikings already prepared way in advance.
I felt like Sheth thought that he was so far ahead there that if he just pushed in with those Broodlords, he thought he was going to win, but he was really in for another story because those Vikings and those Ghosts just decimated those Broodlords, and now Sheth is in a terrible position. His economy is in shambles. He only has like 200 minerals right now, mining from 2 bases, and the style of Thorzian, where it's just sit and wait, sit and wait, sit and wait, and wait for your opponent to mess up, is actually what just happened.
Yeah, basically, I mean, I don't know why Sheth decided to send his Broodlords alone across the map like that. It may have been a mistake, it may have even been a misclick, he may have thought his investors were with it, but regardless, man, losing all of those
Meanwhile, Thorzian taking out the 4th base of Sheth and going straight for the 3rd.
Yeah, this is basically all that Sheth can hope for. He's going to try to go for a trade here. He's using the fact that he has this huge Zergling force to try to cut down on the production of Thorzian, but Thorzian definitely has the better army right now, and it is going strong still, pushing through the 3rd base of Sheth, and Sheth's mining has basically been reduced to 0.
Yeah, and we've also seen Thorzian, he had to lift off everything here in the main, so his only army, even though he has 2,000 minerals right now, is going to be this army down here at the 3rd base. There's a lot of Ghosts. They pretty much have full energy on the majority of them, so that's a lot of EMPs and or snipes. The Vikings here will make sure that if any air units come out, well, they're just going to be obliterated there for Thorzian. But here in the center, these forces are getting caught off guard. A big bungle going down, and this is going to be huge for Sheth.
Yeah, Sheth actually getting a lot of kills here. This is exactly what he needs. He actually crushes that Ghost army.
do anything right here. He does have a ton of gas, though, so he could possibly make some bailings, but the way that Thorzian's got...
He's actually cloaked a ghost, and he's taken out several infestors with that one ghost. Oh yeah. Man, GP, this is looking really bad for Sheth.
Yeah, down to 2 total infestors right now. That was a really, really big thing here. The Ling's now going over to the main to make sure they didn't miss anything. Small drop here over on the right-hand side of the map for Thorzian is going to deny Sheth this base. It is just looking grimmer and grimmer.
Yeah, he absolutely needed that base, and he cannot have it now. And the Zerlings will catch this drop, perhaps, if he doesn't lift up. But that is basically the least of Thorzian's worries right now. I mean, he has just got so much.
There's the cloaked ghost once again, trying to take out the 2 remaining infestors. Does get both of them. Now the infestor count is 0. He's got 6 more about to pop. But, I mean, if he just keeps sending in those ghosts, he's going to be able to whittle down the forces very, very slowly.
Yeah, I think this game is all but over. I mean, he just has so many units. He even has an extra orbital right now he can use to drop mules. His economy is so much better than his opponents. And he's just going to get ready for a big attack and kill this base. And when that base dies, the game will end. Meanwhile, at the bottom right, we see Thorzian is actually going to kill the hatchery one more time. And Sheth cannot afford to lose it. But he may save it, but he's going to lose his other hatchery at the same time. He just cannot be everywhere at once.
Yeah, that hatchery is going to fall on the left-hand side. All the drones are now going over into the bottom right-hand corner. Sure, he might be able to mine from that, but, I mean, right now, Thorzian is just, he has such a lead that Sheth is pretty much delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job of it. He's using those Zerlings. He doesn't have enough Zerlings, though, to kind of split his force and defend 2 fronts. Now Thorzian's army, the army supply is 91 to 57 right now. Thorzian can actually just kind of walk across the map and kill him. There's no way for Sheth to do a counterattack with that crazy wall that Thorzian has. There's no way to break through there. The planetary is way too strong, and at this point, basically, like you said, he's delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, so some Vikings flying over, not really sure. I guess those are remnants of what basically killed the Broodlords and really put Sheth in a terrible position there with that hiccup. But now Thorzian's going cross-map. He is about to possibly deliver the final blow here to Sheth. And, you know, for game 1 for these prize fights, I say we saw an incredible match, man. That was back and forth almost all game long.
Absolutely. And we saw some critical mistakes from both players, but in the end, I feel that Sheth was just, he decided to push through in a moment that was not the right choice. He's going to bait out some fungals here. Nicely done by Thorzian. He's going to hit an EMP, trying to get the rest of these infestors. If he eliminates the infestors, the core of Sheth's army will be dead.
You know, I was actually just counting Sheth completely out, but if he gets a couple more Banelings, he might be able just to obliterate this force of Thorzian. He does not have that many Marines, does have a lot of ghosts, and these 3 tanks will definitely help. But if he can move in at that exact time, he's going to be able to take that force out. Then he's got to deal with those 2 planetaries, so...
Yeah, the thing, though, about the planetaries, a holdout thought we're going to have a small engagement here. The planetaries are almost mined out, and Thorzian does need to take another base. So you're right, Sheth does still have a small chance here. There's so many ghosts in this mix, though. He has to engage this just right, and because ghosts are not actually light units, Banelings are not very cost-efficient against them, so he's going to have to fungal the ghosts and kind of fight the Marines away from the ghosts, and if Thorzian controls this correctly, it's going to be almost impossible to do. We see a Zerling counterattack going up to the top left here, and it looks like he may catch some reinforcements. Nicely done by Sheth. He's doing everything he can, but he still has to deal with this huge force that's barreling down on him. Oh, a good fungal.
That was the most awkward. Those 2 infestors popped out of that hatchery over there, walked right by the army. Thorzian did not do anything about it. And he got a fungal off that really does a lot of damage. Now these siege tanks are somewhat out of position. 2 of them will fall. The Bandits try their best to connect with that 1 tank, getting so many kills there in the back. 44 supply to 133. Sheth has to GG, and game 1 goes to Sheth. And, I mean, that was an incredible match, Wolf. I really got to say that was so back and forth. Like we had mentioned, Sheth just looked so good, but Thorzian just did what he always does in this matchup.
Yeah, and not only did Thorzian play defensively, but he just shut down his opponent's economy time and time again. He always had a drop ready to force a cancel on a hatchery, and that was how he was able to build up that bank, because even after he killed the Broodlords, he hadn't won the game yet, but because he had so much money, after he had a mistake, kind of had to reposition himself, he lost a lot of production facilities, he had the money to rebuild, and that's something that Sheth just did not have.
All right, guys. Well, game 1 of this best of 5 goes to Thorzian. We will be right back after this quick commercial break with game 2 as we head on to MLG Daybreak.